Hi, I'm Owen Dare and welcome to another PicToWeave tutorial. Today we're going to talk about setting up your PC to use two monitors. Now this helps a great deal when you're using PicToWeave because it allows you to have your main interface on one screen and put your entire grid on the second screen. So what that does is allows you to easily paint your grid without having to scroll around the screen too much, and you can flick backwards and forwards between monitors to select threads and so on. So it just makes life a lot easier. And then once you've completed your weave, if you like to have your screen open whilst you're doing the weave so you can check thread colors and so on, it allows you to have a much bigger screen to do it with. It's particularly handy if you use a laptop. Quite often people have small laptops so that they can carry them around easily. It's very difficult to work with PicToWeave on a small screen laptop, but you can quite easily plug a second monitor into it, place your grid on that second monitor, and then get the best of both worlds. So people think, well, what do I need to do that? Do I need a special second video card, or do I need a special computer? And the answer is no. If you've got a fairly late model PC or virtually any laptop, the hardware's already there, and later versions of Windows allow you to connect second monitors without anything special. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at my machine here, which is by no means anything fancy. It's a fairly low budget PC, and I'll just show you what you need to look for to be able to set up. So I'll just switch over. We'll have a quick look on the back of the machine and have a look at what hardware we need to look for. Okay, we've just switched around and we'll have a look on the back of my second monitor, and you'll see that there's three different inputs for video. Over here we have the older style video input slot, then we'll have the later digital one, and finally a HDMI. Now most of your PCs will have both of these on the back, and as long as you've got both of those or a combination of two of any of these on both your PC and your two monitors, you're able to hook directly up. So in my case I've got the older style video input and the DVI input both on my monitors and my PC. On my older monitor that came with the machine, I'm using the standard video input. So on this new monitor, all I need to do is plug in to the DVI port on my monitor and plug that into the DVI port on the back of my PC, and then I can simply go ahead and set up to operate with two monitors. So we'll simply plug that in. As soon as I do that and turn on, Windows will recognize the new monitor, and then you can go through and allow it to either automatically install the correct drivers, or if need be I can put the correct drivers on from the manufacturer's CD. So I'll just switch back now to our other side of our screen and we'll have a look at how it goes from there. Okay, so we've plugged in our second monitor. Windows has recognized it and gone through and installed all the necessary drivers and so forth. If you have any issues, there's lots of on-screen and online information about driver problems, etc. It's a bit much to go into here. But what you will need to do is, if you right-click somewhere on your desktop and go down to screen resolution, you just need to make sure that you've got the resolution set the way you want it. The other thing that will help you recognize is which is your main monitor, your working monitor, and which is your extended monitor. So in my case, the new monitor I've installed is larger than the second one, and that's indicated up here. The new monitor is actually showing as number 1 and the old monitor is number 2. That doesn't mean that when I start Windows all my icons and so forth will go onto my new monitor. What it means is simply it's been given a number, and if I click on number 2, I can see down here that number 2 is currently my main display, so that's where my my start menu and all that sort of thing is going to be. If I want number 1 to be my main display, I simply click on it and then click this button, or this checkbox down here, make this my main display. I want to keep my smaller monitor as my main display, and then when I'm working on a weave, I can drop it onto my second monitor and I've got a much bigger working surface. So I'm happy with how all that's set up. The resolution is set to the maximum recommended for each monitor. So simply select OK. We'll go and start PicToWeave. And we've got our normal interface here. If I increase that to maximum screen size and then open a weave pattern, you'll see that the area up the top here takes up a good third of the screen, and we can't shrink that down very much. These buttons and so forth all need to be that size. If we start shrinking it down, things get very crowded and difficult to read. So if you've got a small monitor like on a laptop and so on, this area, the working area in your grid, will become very small. So what we've done is given you the option to run 2 monitors, so we can now take this working area down here and put it on our second monitor so it occupies the entire screen. What you'll also notice on this this version and most of the later versions of PicToWeave is you can now write protect the grid. So if I click on this checkbox here, it says that the grid is write protected. So what that means is if I click on anywhere on the grid, I can't accidentally change anything. So it just protects your weave from accidental alteration. So a lot of the time when I'm working on a weave, I like to have the PC running so that I can hold my cursor over top of a particular color and it will be displayed up here so that I know which thread color to grab out of the jig. Sometimes when you've got multiple thread colors that are very similar, it's really difficult to tell which is which in the jig. So that just allows you to keep this open while you're working and easily identify by going to the correct row and column number, which is also set there, and saying, okay, well, I need a tomato red thread this time. So how do we get this onto our second monitor? Simply go up to View, Grid Docking Window. So now you can see that the grid has jumped up onto this second window, and that window can be moved around. So what we can now do is move that window onto our second monitor. Just simply drag it across, drop it on our second monitor. So now we've got our window on our second monitor. We can expand that window, and then we've got a much larger working area, so I don't have to scroll around anywhere near as much. If I want to put it back onto the other window, I simply click on this button here, or I can simply close the window up the top. We also have the option of making this window stay on top. So if I had multiple applications running and I don't want this one to fall behind the other one, I can simply click that and this window will always stay on top. And you can see that as I scroll around, once again the colors and so forth will be displayed up here. You can see it's saying here that the grid's write protected, so I can't make it any changes, but as I scroll around, the colors are displayed and the row and column numbers are displayed, so it's quite easy to work out which thread color I need to pick up. It also allows another option. If we switch back to we can now create our left list on our main screen, so that we can work from our left list on one screen. I'll just increase the size of this so you can see the numbers. We can work on our left list on our main screen, and we can work on our grid on our second screen. Now I prefer to work off a paper left list, and as I do each line or each rotation I just put a line through it. Some people are happy to work off the screen like this and make a note of where they are in the weave. Some people even like to print it to a PDF file where they can actually put a highlight line through any rotations that they've completed. There's multiple ways of skinning this cat, and we hope that by giving you the dual screen option, it makes that job a little bit easier. So if you don't already have the latest version of PicToWeave, please download it and install it. It's a free update for existing customers, and if you don't already own PicToWeave, it allows you to have a look at all the features and so forth. You can't save anything and you can't print anything, but you can certainly see how it all works. So get out there and give it a go. We look forward to seeing your work, and we'll catch you up on the next tutorial. Thank you.